All right, here's a little message for the Fresh Prince of Amino. I am the Senate. Hey, if you guys haven't checked out Jedi Amino, please head over to where you download apps and download Jedi Amino. Install that on your phone. It is fantastic. It's a community, kind of like a Facebook group, except 5,000 times better, of people all around the world who love Star Wars. They share news, information, resources, history. It's all available there. Plus, they're some of the most creative people I've seen in a long time. They've got short stories, long stories, they've got chapterized stories, and they've got artwork. I want to talk about this kid. His name is Killer Keemstar. He's been putting some drawings up there for the last couple of weeks, and they're absolutely fantastic. So make sure you head on over to wherever you download apps and download the Jedi Amino. You guys are going to love it. This is another one of those very special podcasts. We got Kevin from There Is Another Podcast coming on to join us. We're going to be talking about the Season 4 trailer of Star Wars Rebels, which was popped out during the Star Wars Celebration last weekend. Now, this is going to be the last official Star Wars Celebration podcast where we talk about just specific things. But you know how we are as Star Wars fans. We're going to be talking about Star Wars Celebration for the next 2 years. But starting again next week, we're going to be back on our regular scheduled show, and we're going to be visiting special locations. We have permission and our permits to be able to go and record in some very specific locations, including Imperial places and Rebel bases. It's just going to be fantastic. So you guys aren't going to want to miss this one. It's going to be a great show. So that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and bring us into the show.
Chewie, is that you? Chewbacca!
Well, the archives hold a great many secrets. It's true. Beyond this door lies the Holocron Vault. The Holocrons contain the most closely guarded secrets of the Jedi Order.
Hello, listeners, and you're listening to Holocron of the Wills for the week of April 22nd, 2012, or 2012. Why did I say 2012? 5 years ago. Alright, scrap that.
Start over.
You got a DeLorean, dude. That's awesome.
All right.
We got to go back in time, Marty.
Welcome to whenever we are.
We got to get you back to the future. All right. Hey, listeners, welcome, and you're listening to Holocron of the Wills for the week of April 22nd, 2017. Joining me, as always, from all corners of the Outer Rim are Lance and James.
Howdy.
Hey there, listeners.
And also joining us is Kevin from the There Is Another Podcast. Listeners, you'll remember that we had Kevin on our show last week talking about the phenomenal Last Jedi trailer. And this week we're going to be talking about another trailer that came out of Celebration. And, you know, we're really couldn't do it without Kevin. We wanted to hear his insight and his expertise in this, so we were like, let's get him on.
Oh, yeah.
So how you doing, Kevin?
No pressure there, I guess.
Yeah, no pressure.
I'm doing good.
You guys, I don't know about you guys, but are you guys still feeling the high from Celebration, even though none of us were actually there and we were just watching the live stream?
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've had my Star Wars playlist on my iPod just driving around. Every time I go, it's just on random. It's mixing up, but it's been all week long. I just keep celebrating.
Yeah,
you do kind of get a little bit of a crash after that Sunday, whether you were there or not, because you just had so much thrown at you for 3.5 days that you reach that Monday and you're like, man, now what?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, it's fun. It's funny because I scheduled my entire weekend around the panels, like when I was going to be studying for exams and when I was going to be getting food and this stuff, just so I could watch, everything that I could from the live stream. And really, I gotta say, I as much as I would love to go to a Celebration, and I do plan on going to the next one that's stateside.
Yeah.
But there's just something about being able to enjoy all these great panels from the comfort of your own couch or chair or wherever,
in your underwear with a beer in your hand. Wait, was that out loud?
But and also you don't have to worry about
better. That's better than with a beer and your underwear in your hand.
That is better. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's just you don't have to worry about the con crud or the con flu. So like,
right.
That's always something.
A lot of that just sounded miserable. Like people were describing what was going on, and like, I mean, I get being there is totally different and worthwhile, but my God, I think we saw more stuff than the people who were there did. Because we didn't have to worry about which line we were getting in.
Yeah, exactly.
The wristbands and really when you go there, it's for the you're around all these fans and you're doing all this stuff. And I mean, I go to a bunch of conventions and it's always a thrill going to them, but like whenever I go to an actual convention though, I never go to panels because that's not what I'm there for.
But the thing to me is that I couldn't even understand how some of these people were doing it. People were standing in line from what I was hearing for like 6, 8, 12, 18 hours just to get into the panels. I mean, the last Comic-Con I went to, I just walked up to the counter, bought a ticket, and then just waited till they opened the doors. I couldn't even begin to imagine wasting a whole day just to get into a panel.
I think they said with the Last Jedi panel, I guess they were sleeping overnight.
Yeah, they were.
To get into that. Ryan Johnson was actually out there entertaining them, but
that would have been the only panel I would have waited in line for. I would have waited in line for the Last Jedi one. The other ones I'm like, because I know you could just catch them on YouTube. Like I'll just watch them on YouTube. Like because I was talking with some people today, and in some of those stages, it's all flat level. There's no raised seatings the farther back you go, so like you can't see anything. And one guy that's like, all right, well you can't see the stage, but you can see the screen. Well, the live stream cameras blocked the screen.
Oh, jeez.
So
no.
You're almost better off in the panels to actually just watch the video coverage of it, but that doesn't. Right. But I still, like I said, I'm going to go to the next. I want to go to the next celebration. I want to be. I want to go in the dealer's room, the celebration store, try and find some cool merch. But speaking of TV shows and trailers, at the Star Wars Rebels Season 4 panel, fans got to see the trailer for the Season 4 of Rebels, which we have been told by Dave Filoni, the executive producer and supervising director of the show, is that Season 4 of Rebels will be the final season of the TV show.
Yeah.
And we've all kind of heard rumors about this. I know I have. I don't know about you guys, that Season 4 would indeed be the last one.
Yeah.
So it comes to no real surprise for really anyone that I've talked with. We all like the secret that Season 4 was going to be the final secret was kept, as well as the fact that we were going to get Grand Admiral Thrawn in Season 3. Like that was, I don't know if you guys remember from last year, that was like the worst kept secret in the Lucasfilm.
Right.
Because like everyone knew it before they even announced it, but we just all knew it.
Yeah. And I personally saw that Season 4 was going to be the finale. There's no way that they could keep going without starting to cross into Rogue One and Episode 4. There was just no way.
So to that, I think it's time we get right into this trailer, and we'll give it the full discussion and analysis that we gave to the Last Jedi trailer, which if you haven't listened to that show, make sure you check it out because it was a great conversation. All right, so the trailer opens up. We get the Lucasfilm logo, and the beginning part is a bunch of like a montage of clips and scenes and stuff from previous Rebel episodes from seasons 1, 2, and 3, all with Hera saying a little kind of monologue. She says it was a simple story about a boy who was lost, a girl who was broken. And we see shots of Ezra from season 1 and stuff, and we see Sabine. Then we see Zeb. She says that they fought alongside a survivor, meaning because Zeb is one of the last of his species, or what he thought was the last of his species, because the Empire takes over.
Yeah.
A war veteran who's Chopper, and we all know for people who watch the show, Chopper's the little astromech droid who was a droid used in the Clone Wars for a Y-wing that was shot down. And we get the Fallen Knight, who is Kanan.
Did they tell that story? The Chopper story?
They mentioned it.
Yeah, they mentioned it, that Hera had recovered him and repaired him, reprogrammed them.
Yeah, Hera salvaged him. He was shot down, and during the Ryloth siege in Clone Wars, we see.
I didn't remember them diving into that too much. That's all.
Yeah, it was a season 2, and then we hear it again in season 3 when we get to Hera's house.
Yeah, when her father says, "Oh, you still got that old thing."
Yeah, and then Chopper actually wheels over to the Y-wing is still there.
They touched on it. They touched on it a little bit when they went to Geonosis. The Saw Gerrera episode, I think.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And then my favorite line in this little opening monologue is she says she led them into battle against an evil so terrible they tried to black out the stars. And I just watched Rogue One literally right before we recorded this episode, and that just speaks so fully to the Death Star blocking out the sun of Jeddah as it annihilates the holy city. Like it's just, I just love that line. It really showcases how evil like the Empire is, and just they need to defeat them and stuff.
Well, at this point in the timeline, though, she has no idea. Like she can't be talking about the Death Star.
No,
well, we don't know what point she makes a speech.
Yeah. Now it could also be she's just talking about the darkness of the Empire covering the entire galaxy. But just like John said, we don't know exactly which point. Maybe she's given her dissertation sometime after the events of Scarif. We don't know exactly when this takes place.
Can I just say what I think this sounds like? Like this just opening part, I swear it sounds like a eulogy.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah, it does.
Because it all boiled down to that one line. We never imagined it would end like this.
Well, and aside from her, we don't know any of them make it out. So
her and Chopper.
Yeah, those are the only two that we know of.
I like this little opening. Like first 40-some seconds is just this like. They're really building up the tension of what these characters have gone through, and just how they are good people and stuff, and then we get this awesome music and our first shot of new footage.
Yep.
And there's a lot of talk online about this shot. Ezra and Sabine riding on a white wolf on what looks to be the plains of Lothal.
Yep.
Yeah.
This area of Lothal, it kind of looks like there's some snow. I don't know. It reminds me like that this could be maybe around where that Jedi Enclave was, that little temple that they find there. Because that's what it reminds me. Because there was snow. There was little patches of snow on the ground like this.
Well, when we get a little further into I'm going to take a page out of Lance's book from last week. Once we get a little bit further into the trailer and they show the wolf again, I've got a couple things that I wanted to talk about with the wolf.
I have some things as well to discuss about this wolf. In fact, some things that date back to Dave Filoni's Topps trading card.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yes.
The digital card you're talking about, right?
the digital Ahsoka card.
Yeah.
So we'll get. I think we're all on the same breadcrumb trail.
I think so.
But let's continue on with back to the trailer.
That didn't take very long.
Did not take very long. So we get this awesome music, and Ezra and Sabine looks like she's injured.
Yeah.
Riding on this wolf.
Yeah, I thought she looked slumped over.
Yeah, she looks unconscious to me.
The first time I saw the trailer, I'm not going to lie, I saw because it looks like Sabine is holding her mother's helmet. Maybe her mother's with them as well. Nope, it looks like I just freeze framed in a different spot. She just has her mother's helmet, I think. Or is that a new helmet?
Her mother shows up later on in the trailer, too.
Later
so it
on.
could be hers.
I think it's her mother's helmet.
Or
but
did Sabine repaint her armor again?
I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Because her, now that I'm looking at her shoulders and her knee patch are yellow, matching the helmet. Because at first I thought
that's her helmet.
That's her helmet. Okay,
yeah.
Because I first saw this trailer, I'm not going to lie, I thought that was Ezra and Sabine's mom, and I'm like, wow, they got really close.
Now, going back to the paint job, I'm gonna hit on that. I'm gonna take a page out of my own book, Kevin. There's a scene later on that I'm definitely gonna hit on this. I've got my notes right here. But yeah, I believe she's got a brand new paint job, and Ezra has a brand new paint job on some armor. He's actually got some armor pieces on. If you look on that one shot as well, it looks like he's got some shoulder armor. And later on, that exact same armor he has on, and he has a brand new painted helmet as well. So I think Sabine has gone a little crazy with her spray gun and started tagging just about everybody's stuff up brand new.
She's been doing that since season 1.
They're carrying a box of some sort too that's underneath that helmet.
That's my big question.
Seeing that now.
Yeah, I have that underlined like 3 times here, because the helmet is one thing, but it was more of a question of what exactly is that box, because it obviously seems to be important enough that they're running away from wherever they're coming from. Sabine is unconscious, and they're making sure that box stays on top of the wolf.
Yeah, because Ezra has his hand
on the box.
The box. So he's holding Sabine up by holding onto the box in front of her.
Yeah, and Sabine's hands look like it's getting onto the wolf. Now, after the wolf shot with this, we see now this planet. We see the ghost being chased by the what are these TIE fighters called?
Those are the TIE Defenders.
TIE Defend, thank you. I wanted to call them the Phantom TIE, but that's a whole other TIE fighter.
Those are so cool looking.
Yeah, the TIE Defenders are great. I have a few of them in my X-Wing game that I play. And this planet reminds me of the planet that we saw in season 2 of where Hera gets the B-Wing from Quarry.
I thought this was still Lothal. It kind of looks like Lothal to me too.
I'm kind of under the
way the rocks are colored.
Well, see, we've never seen a rock structure.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's what caught me off guard.
We kind of did when they found the Jedi Temple, though. The Jedi Temple was kind of the same.
That was more on like that.
Yeah, true.
The Jedi Temple was more on like that type of mound stuff that you see on Lothal.
And then Lothal has more of the wind-swept round stones that are on top of it. But this one, if you want my opinion, I don't think we're looking at Lothal or the place where they got the B-Wing. I think we're looking at Mandalore. I'm giving it a really high percentage because as we continue through the trailer, we will come back to these stone pillars, which I call them throughout my notes. We'll come back to them several times, and there's one key point that we'll find in the trailer that ties it all to Mandalore for me. But yeah, I think to me,
I bet you're right. Lance.
I think we're 90% at Mandalore on this.
While you were talking, Lance, I just wanted to. I was doing just some quick on the fly research. I found an image of Hera flying in the prototype B-Wing. Mm-hmm. And the rock formations are the exact same from the planet of Abar as they are in this trailer. So it looks like we're going, at least Maybe going back there. I mean, it's down to the way how the rocks are painted.
Yeah, it's when we get later into the trailer, I'll show you exactly where it starts connecting for me to Mandalore. But it could be, because I know exactly which one you're talking about. But again, it comes down to later in the trailer, because it doesn't make sense to me that it's that other planet. It was too dangerous to approach and too dangerous to land into and everything else. Remember, they had really hard time. And there's going to be a scene later on that completely knocks that planet off the list for me. Because I thought the exact same thing as you.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see. Now then, after we see the ghost fly through these canyons with Chase, we see Sabine falling through the air. She's got her jetpack. She's got, this. However, and this is good to know, her helmet is the season 3 helmet design, all of her armor. It is not that yellow that we saw previously.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't realize that she painted her armor, because when you see these are the shots, it's the same that we had from season 3.
I think we're looking at that.
They're probably just splicing
Bits.
the times up, like we talked about last week.
It's all misleading.
They did say that season 4 is only going to have like 16 episodes.
Right.
So
I saw that.
Because normally we would get like the trailer. We would get like our first trailer for the season would be the first half, and then and then after Christmas we'll get a trailer for the back half of the season. But because the season's going to be a lot smaller, I think it's the window of events and stuff. It's smaller as well.
It kind of makes me wonder if they're going to release all 16 just prior to episode 8's release, but I don't think so. I think they have the release date. I think it is November or something, so there's no way.
I think the show will premiere in the fall. It'll probably in September. And
I think they're doing the same thing they did last year, where they put the first 2 together.
Yeah. And then the last one
special,
and I'm sure they'll put the last 2 together.
Starts up.
Because then if they put the first 2 together and the last 2 together, then that's 13 episodes in between.
I don't think it's going to just be 2 at the end.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be 3 at the end. Honestly, my opinion, or they're going to do a feature length.
I'd say I'd agree with that. I think
I always
with
wanted
it being the finale of the show. I think it's going to get a lot more.
I always wanted them to do another feature-length animated film, like they did the Clone Wars animated one. I always thought that we were going to get another Clone Wars film.
Or there were so many arcs in the Clone Wars that were feature-length; they were just cut into 30-minute segments.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So now in this trailer shot, we also see Ezra has his that Scout Trooper helmet that he got from last season has been painted red, yellow, and it has the same type of symbol that his jacket had in season 1 on it, looks like, on the side. I think it's the same symbol.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Looks pretty similar. Now
on the side of his helmet.
On the side of his helmet, yeah. It's the same. I think it's the same symbol that was on his
the back of his jacket.
Yeah, back of his orange jacket.
Okay, this is one of those scenes that I'm talking about. This is obviously a landing platform. I don't know if you're paying close attention. There's a TIE fighter pilot that's coming out toward Ezra at this point, shooting at him. If you look to
Lothal.
If you're looking to the back left behind Ezra is one of the wings of a TIE Defender. Now, I thought this might have been
a TIE fighter.
I thought it was going to be a TIE fighter, but pay close attention to those wings. They're actually pointed outwards. They're in a V shape pointing outwards.
There's 2 ships on the platform. The first one at the 55-second mark, when he has the lightsaber ignited on the first one, there is a TIE fighter.
Yeah. And then
the next frame, that looks like a TIE Defender, or
TIE
it could
Defender.
be
the one that's red, the one with the red trim on it.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of the old the Fel Saber TIE Interceptors from Legends.
Yeah.
We're probably only seeing stuff from maybe 3 episodes.
That's what I believe as well.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they didn't put everything in this.
Yeah. Then we get this awesome shot. I mean, this looks like, other than the ghost ship itself. We see the Yavin base, and it looks just like a painting.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
Very Ralph McQuarrie.
Very.
No, yeah, it is.
When they first announced the show, Dave Filoni said that he wanted the show to kind of just jump out of the Ralph McQuarrie paintings.
Yeah.
And, man, I thought they did it in season 1, but seeing this,
It's gotten better and better every season.
They get better every season.
Yeah.
So we see the ghost flying to, and now we see Hera and Kanan. They're getting close, and they've always teased us with their relationship.
Yeah.
But there's obviously one going on. I mean, people read the New Dawn novel where Hera meets Kanan. Kanan's obviously got, there's obviously chemistry between them, down to the fact that, in the one short, they, Chopper walks in on them and they're just about to kiss, and, they'll call each other, Hera calls Kanan love, and when Darth Vader attacks him in season 2, when everyone gets to their spots in the ship to fend them off, Kanan says, "Make mom and dad proud."
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, even Freddie Prinze during the panel, he said that basically Hera and Kanan are the mom and dad of the ship.
Oh yeah.
And they are. That's
but the thing to me that stood out the most is when Freddie Prinze was talking toward the end of the panel, when he was saying that he doesn't see that him and Hera have any kind of relationship in the show, that they consider themselves to be more like brother and sister.
See, I thought that I think he would, because I remember him saying it, but I think he was referring to, because he mentioned the brother or sister thing like that to Tia Sircar, saying like, I'm so, and instead of saying like, telling her like good job like that, because I remember him saying the same thing, but it was like he was talking to her, saying
actually,
that he's.
I think you're right. I think you're 100% right.
He's more brother and sister, and he says, I'm not. I'm not going to say. I forget what he said. He said, I'm not going to say I'm proud of you, but he said something else. I forget exactly how he worded it or something.
That was right there during the samurai training montage thing,
right?
Yeah, and all that. And I just love seeing Kanan every time he has the helmet off with his, him being blind, and it's just so. Yeah, I like having the reminder he is blind. He can't see. He can't see with the Force, but I loved them blinding Kanan, made him so interesting.
Yeah, I think he's one of my favorite characters in a long time.
In season 3, we didn't see too much of Kanan.
I think of all the Jedis, he's probably my favorite. I think he is absolutely.
He's
his absence in season 3 was a bit. I found it a little bit. Just I was confused by it now, because there were so many times, and I thought, why is he not in this episode?
Or like
and that recurred throughout the whole season.
I understood it in the beginning because like he kind of like became a recluse, But after the season finale, he comes back into the fray, and it's like, okay, we got Kanan back, and then
he spent quite a bit of time just with Sabine, in those training episodes with her. But I mean, last season was Sabine's season. She was the one that was in the forefront.
I want to see more. I want to see Ezra's story really. I want to see him mature. I know we've seen him going down the path, but I just want to see him mature more, and I think season 3 helped him in this regards. I definitely think Kanan is finally that wise master.
Yeah, I think that's what his big arc this season was.
The end of season 3, the final shots of it, with him walking through the ghost ship after they escape, he just felt so wise. Like everyone was coming up to him, and he, like when he walks in and he puts his arm on Zeb, and then Callus says, thank you, and Kanan says no, thank you, and then he goes and finds Ezra, and he consoles him. Like he just felt he felt like that finally like a wise Jedi sage kind of like.
Yeah, to me, I felt that we saw a whole lot of Kanan growing this entire season. If you remember, he went to visit the Bendu quite a bit this year. And to me, and then his absence also spoke spades to me as well, because it seemed to me like that Kanan was finally starting to understand that he is now the wise old man, and he's starting to accept his position as being the teacher instead of the warrior.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with him being blinded.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he can still deflect. I mean, he would, in the beginning of season 3, when they attack, when they go to Hera's house or whatever, and there's the AT-ST or the drop pod or whatever, where it shoots and literally deflects it with the Force and aims it right back at it. Like, that was cool.
Yeah.
Seeing that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store for Kanan's character.
Oh, really do.
So back to the trailer. We get the... Now, this is what, Lance, I think this shot is definitely Mandalore.
Yeah, this one is definitely Mandalore.
From the Clone Wars, other than, unless you were in those dome cities, it was just a white, wintry wasteland kind of thing, because like so much... I think it was like in a nuclear winter. Isn't that what kind of like what they...
That was the impression it gave.
There was that huge battle. Remember the one moon that the what is it? The Death Watch was on that one.
Yeah, they were
episode.
They were on
Concordia.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I think the whole war between them ended up destroying basically the surface of their planet and putting like you said, a nuclear winter across the entire planet. So it's always snowy, always covered at some point.
Yeah, because there's a lot of these other Mandalorians, which, and you guys know, I'm not a huge Boba Fett fan, but we all know now Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian.
Well, genetically he is.
Yeah. But man, these Mandos, they look awesome.
Yeah,
now,
but
I had a question in this scene, because we've always, typically in every rendering, we've seen Mandalorians with different color painted armor. Like even from Boba Fett to Jango Fett.
Well, I think with Jango Fett, first one, isn't it like...
Well, my question about these is, you've got Sabine, who's very colorful, and then there's Ezra with his yellow and orangish helmet, and then you have all these other Mandalorians, and they're all just white.
Well, I think
white armor.
I think what you're seeing is her... reuniting the Mandalorians that were fighting with the Empire.
Yeah,
I think she's rallying them to the Rebels' cause. So, because we saw some of the Mandalorians in season 3, they were all white, the ones that were working with the Empire.
Yeah, what was
so?
His
I
name?
think that's why you're seeing the white armor in this shot, is that she's now rallied that faction of Mandalorians back to her cause.
Yeah,
I think that this Mandalorian group, I think they are the Night Owls.
Could be.
That's Bo-Katan's.
Oh yeah, because
she's definitely.
I think an appearance.
I'm not sure, but
she makes an appearance in the trailer.
Yeah,
well, she does, but I think she's the one standing next to Ezra.
That's what I was just going to say. I think that's the same.
That's Bo-Katan.
That's
really?
That's Bo-Katan, because the helmet design is very much like how her helmet design was. And now I think with kind of like what you were saying, James, the Mandalorian armor being all kind of different colors and stuff. Well, Jango had the blue and silver kind of armor, but really when you look at it, I want in my head, I just picture that Jango Fett like probably stole the armor from a Death Watch person.
Yeah, probably.
And, Boba, he acquires his armor, and it's not the same as the Jango Fett armor.
And we do know that it's not his father's helmet, because he destroyed that when he tried to entrap, I think it was Obi-Wan.
Right.
Mace Windu, and then he gets the new helmet, and that gets dented by Cad Bane. But
I always thought they were colored based on their clans.
That's what I always assumed.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the thing is that Boba Fett doesn't belong to anybody. His father's
right.
Yeah, it was blue and gray or blue and silver.
Because they say that he's not a Mandalorian, and I don't know, but until like I just can't wait till they definitively come out with, like, if they do come out with a Boba Fett movie or something. I just want, the reason why I want a Boba Fett movie to come out is so that we can have a definitive thing of he's Mandalorian, he is not Mandalorian.
Who the hell is he? What the hell is he?
Like,
yeah.
Yes.
I just want a definitive answer on this.
Yeah.
There's some things that when it comes to the things with the Force, I'm okay with not knowing the answers. But there's things like, is this guy from this planet? Come on, like,
is it going to make you like him more or less?
It'd make me. That's how to do it. Because I like Boba Fett as he is portrayed in the Clone Wars. I think he's awesome in that. Because what I don't like about Boba Fett is what the expanded universe did to him.
Oh yeah. Well, you can erase that.
Yeah, they are, and thank God they did. I didn't like how they made the Mandalorian. The main reason I didn't like, I say I don't like Mandalorian so much is because in the expanded universe and the Legends, they made all Mandalorians basically Boba Fett's. They made them all kind of bounty hunter warriors and rest of this. They're all out for money and they're all this and that, and they're just the whole culture of these. It's like it's so boring. And then you get the Boba Fett character in Legends. He comes back from the Sarlacc pit, and you read the Legacy of the Force books. Love the novels, but at the same time, you got a 90-year-old Boba Fett, and him and Han Solo. Like the EU books always like to make it like that there was some big rivalry to him. Like, guys, he just like no, he was hired by Jabba. They both worked for Jabba.
Yeah.
And he was hired by Darth Vader to hunt, find him. Like, there doesn't have to be this, like, they're not like Batman and the Joker.
Yeah, that's all he is. He's a gun for hire.
That's how the EU like treated it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Boba Fett was to Han Solo as to what Darth Vader was to Luke Skywalker, and I thought like it was not. That wasn't what George Lucas intended for the character. He was just a side character who who found Han to get him to, or who captured Han.
Well, wasn't it Boba Fett that Vader used in the comic book to track down Luke to find out who Luke was? In
the new canon, yes, and I do like Boba Fett in the Marvel comics, like
because the way I don't know if all of you read those comics or not, but
I am.
Not me.
Yeah,
I'm not.
The way they did it in the comic was Vader hired Boba Fett to find out who the kid was that blew up the Death Star, and it was actually Boba Fett that is the one that reveals to Vader that Luke is a Skywalker.
I mean, by this point, Vader and Boba Fett.
That's how Vader first learns that
he has a son.
That Luke is a Skywalker. Yeah, is through Boba Fett.
And then after that point,
I like that.
And then
the story of it was great. Like,
right,
it's
that whole run was amazing.
The comic is great. Like I say, I'm with Boba Fett. I'm kind of conflicted because, I know why people love him. It's the look and all this stuff, but I just didn't like what the EU did with them. There was a novel for the Legacy of the Force books. You have a 90-year-old Boba Fett. He's sitting on Slave One, checking the stocks and talking about his economic stuff, and then going to a doctor's appointment because
in the old EU, that was probably 3 chapters.
Oh my God! Yeah. It was so, Karen Travis, I know, other than that, like, I loved her books, but she was just so Boba crazy. And then when they made the Clone Wars season 2, she bailed on the series because she's like, I'm not. Yeah. And it was a Karen travesty. Now, back to the trailer.
Thank you, hashtag.
Yes.
We now get a great shot of Sabine is on a speeder bike with the Darksaber. She has the same armor as season 3, down to how the Ahsoka Owl Convor is on her shoulder patch. Mm. And she uses the saber and she slices the scout speeder bike right, and it just blows up. And it quickly cuts to a TIE fighter.
Yeah.
Being shot from a it's either a Mandalorian starfighter or it's the fighter that Darth Maul used that Ezra took. Darth Maul's ship was Mandalorian. I just don't know because there's the 2 different class ships. Darth Maul's ship could hold more people than Like it wasn't a starfighter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But like this is interesting. So as the TIE fighter is blowing up, you have a Mandalorian flying away from it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right toward the screen. Yep.
Right towards the camera, and man, does that look sick.
Yeah, it does.
I thought it was the Mandalorian that destroyed the TIE fighter.
That's what I was thinking too.
It looked like it looked like to me. It looked like it jumped straight through it.
That could be.
Like somebody jumped out of the.
Again, I think that's Bo-Katan.
Now, yeah, this looks like a night. This looks more like the Night Owl from Clone Wars style, and I'm wondering if she paints her armor to make it white that we see in the previous one, or if those were different clan people. I have no clue.
I don't know. It didn't look like the ones that were in white were trying to blend in when they pop up with Ezra and Sabine. So it's probably two separate things, but I still think she was part of both of those.
Now this next shot making me really excited to see a U-wing fly in.
Oh yeah,
I loved seeing this brought in.
Yes,
and it flies over a one of those. What type of Imperial ship is that?
Light cruiser.
Lance, this is why I think that this is the Ideon planet from Wings of the Master, because we have the clouds are the same.
That's
true. And we have those mountain structures.
But it does cause a whole lot of problems. But the thing, it brings up a whole lot of question marks. Is it the same planet? But I think they're doing this to mislead us, because those stone pillars recur throughout this entire trailer. And like we were saying, I think the story only takes place, or the trailer only takes place on maybe 3 planets the entire...
Yeah, we have Lothal, we have Lothal, Mandalore, and Ideon.
Okay.
And Yavin.
And Yavin.
Oh yeah, Yavin. Yavin is just a couple shots. It's nothing really big. But
I think I would bet the Republic credits.
It's going to come down to a scene that's coming up in a little bit later, because I think we're seeing the same planet in daytime and nighttime in multiple scenes throughout this this trailer.
I'm glad you interrupted me, because I was about to do a really bad Watto impression.
I'm missing that.
The credits are no good here.
See, you see, that's a better Watto voice. How about we make a Star Wars Republic credits a Watto story? It could be you and that Kitster and Wald.
Never mind, I'm out.
No.
Oh, bonkers.
Your credits are no good.
They totally just blow up that satellite dish, and the explosions look so good in this show.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about.
It's kind of beautiful.
Now, if this is that planet, when did the Empire have the time to build a satellite dish on it? No, I think we're talking...
Empire.
Yeah.
They can... They're all modular, and they can just drop it down.
But
it could have been existing one that they took over.
All right.
Yeah.
Next shot, we see a Twi'lek. Pretty sure it's Hera. It might not... No, actually, I don't think it is Hera, or she's wearing a different costume. It's hard to. It's a green Twi'lek.
Yeah, that's with the 2 tanks.
She looks too slim.
Yeah,
yeah, it doesn't quite look like.
But this
her.
isn't what I'm most excited about in the shot. We see tanks and some stormtroopers. We see a moisture evaporator, and those tanks are the same ones.
The Scarif tank.
Yeah, Scarif.
Those are Jeddah tanks.
Jeddah.
Oh, Jeddah. That's right.
Yeah.
Now, those are the Jeddah tanks that we see in Rogue One, and this is obviously Lothal. We see the Lothal mounds in the back. So again, we're the planets in this trailer: Lothal, Mandalore, Yavin, and Abar.
Maybe.
I'd bet money on Abar.
Okay.
And when that episode comes and it's not them, then I will.
I think you're right, though, John. I think
you most likely are.
Now we see Saw Gerrera. He's back.
Yep.
I don't
know if this Saw is different looking than the Saw we see in
his hair is
2.
wider this time.
Well, he has hair.
He's a lot grayer now, because he was bald when we saw him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I just pulled up a shot.
Now, can I point out something behind him?
There's a giant kyber crystal.
Exactly.
Hey.
A giant green kyber crystal behind him.
What could they be doing with a kyber crystal?
I don't
So
know.
in keeping with us guessing which planets what happens on, this is probably Lothal then.
I bet this is going to be Lothal because in season one we know there's kyber crystals there because there's a Jedi temple. Ezra finds his little kyber crystal for his first
True.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yep.
Season 2 intro, Minister Tua says if they help the rebels help them out, she'll tell them the real reason why the Empire is on Lothal. They think it's just, and Hera says, well, we know why. It's so the Empire can build its factory. And she goes, no, I know another reason. A reason only from a select few. Sent personally by the Emperor, and it's the kyber. They're mining kyber crystals.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm with you on that one. I agree. 100%.
I think what we're going to see is the reason why Saw goes to Jeddah.
Yeah,
he's following.
Yeah,
that
probably.
crystal.
Yeah.
I think
following the crystal.
I think
That's my
whatever's
guess.
happening on Lothal is exactly why he ends up like he is on Jeddah.
Yeah.
Missing a foot,
I
missing.
believe
I think he'll get hit with a lightsaber of a red sword.
Yeah, I think we're going to get that. I
Like-
think we're going to see that in season 4.
Maybe
where-
we'll find Borg Gullet in the Jedi Temple in Lothal, and he'll make his pet Borg Gullet. Borg Gullet.
Well, I think
would be
they're
cool.
I think they're definitely going to show how he ends up in
Crazy?
that in the medical condition that he
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they don't, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, they
Because,
have
I mean,
to.
'cause
They
he's got a cybernetic leg. He has
the breathing problems.
Yeah.
There's so many things
yeah.
they have to close the loop on him.
So after Saw Gerrera, we see the Mandalorians flying towards the dome cities of Mandalore. Like, that's what that is. And we also see Chopper flying with them. And then now we got if this season's going to have what they call the money shot, I want to think this is like the money shot. Bo-Katan because I love Bo-Katan's character and Clone Wars. I love it when they bring Clone Wars characters in, especially this is one who her sister was Duchess Satine, Obi-Wan Kenobi's love interest. Like, there's just so even though we only saw her a few times, there's so much weight to this character's history.
Yeah.
And when Sabine said that she wasn't going to keep wielding the dark saber, she was going to find someone who was worthy of it. I'm like, oh, we're going to get Bo-Katan. Like, she's going to be the one. She takes her helmet off. Now we see, for people watching the panel, this was very exciting. This looks like this planet is Lothal. You still see the mounds.
Yep.
And we have Rook or
Yeah, it's going to be a question of how they pronounce his name.
Rook.
Yeah.
it's Rook or Rook or however you want to say it.
However we say his name.
He's a member of the Nogri species.
I was pretty happy about this.
So was I first.
I can say I did not initially catch that.
Well, I knew if they were going to bring
alien.
They announced it in the panel that Warwick Davis is doing the voice, which I find funny because everyone knows Warwick Davis is Wicket as
so
Professor
many
Flitwick and so many. I see him also as the Leprechaun from those terrible.
yes, Leprechaun in the Hood.
God.
And so thinking of him as this, Warwick Davis is Rook. Totally, I could totally buy that.
Yeah.
Well, and this character is from the era of the Empire.
Yep. So for listeners, Rook is originally a Legends character from Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, the same novel that Grand Admiral Thrawn comes from. And Rook is actually the bodyguard of Grand Admiral Thrawn.
And huge spoiler here.
Well, he's Grand Admiral Thrawn's killer.
Yeah. No, so I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But here's
Did we ruin it for you, James?
Guys, I just thought of something.
What?
Uh-oh.
When Bendu, before he disappeared, what he told Thrawn was, I see your end like many dark hands surrounding you.
Yeah.
Oh,
In a
are the
cold
Nogri
embrace.
going to kill Thrawn?
Oh yeah. See, now my thing. However, here's my thing. I love that they brought Rook back. Do we think that the Nogri, because in Legends, the Nogri served Vader, they served
Right.
Thrawn. But when they found out that the Empire actually was like betraying them, then Rook, assassinated Thrawn.
Right.
They changed, and then they swore themselves to Leia. Do we think they're going to
Yes.
keep that part of the Nogri's backstory? Or because I'm not going to lie, a part of me kind of doesn't want Rook to kill Thrawn at this time, because in the Legends, that's
I think they're going to kind of have to. We're going to have to have
I don't know.
Because the Thrawn novel already got rid of like my one favorite character from the Thrawn.
Are you talking about the new one?
Yeah, the new one.
Don't talk anymore about that one.
Okay.
Well,
it's no spoilers, but they combined two characters from Legends into one character for canon.
Well, we kind of
they merged the George Cardass character with Captain Pelion. Which it works. It works
which
really
is
well.
all right.
I haven't finished that one yet, so I'm cutting you off.
Oh, I'm still listening to it, so I'm not done with it yet either.
I have to wonder about how much of the story will change by. We've already had to have seen some changes in Thrawn's character by bringing him forward in the time.
Well,
because he was originally supposed to be kind of later down the timeline, and we kind of brought him back to this era.
They've been pretty faithful to the original novels with the way they've portrayed him in Rebels. There really hasn't been any variation.
And even with the Thrawn novel, I'm sure have you read the first few chapters, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through it.
Okay, so first 3 chapters is how Thrawn meets the Empire. And it is verbatim the same circumstances that he meets in Mist Encounter, the short story from the 90s.
Right.
Even down to the fact that in that he's chased, the Empire is chasing a smuggler called Booster Tarek. And even in this one, they don't name the smuggler, but they say, they're chasing a smuggler, and then they find Thrawn.
Wow.
It's awesome.
I do think this character, Rook character, he's definitely going to play a significant role. You don't bring in a Warwick Davis to voice a character. Like, they're not going to I'm getting all my thoughts jumbled up. Throughout the entire series of Rebels, they've not brought in a character from another series or movie without there being a reason to do it. Like, they haven't just drawn them in for the sake of having them there. So he's definitely going to play a role.
He'll play an important part, but I'm still not sure if I want Rook to I still don't know if I want Rook to kill him this time.
Well, I think it comes down to it. It brings us back to that Darth Maul ending with, is Thrawn too big of a character to have sat out the original trilogy?
Because he does so much stuff with the unknown regions. He deals with the rebels on this, or even like if he say the rebels win, Thrawn doesn't die. Palpatine can still say, like, all right, just go fight your little battles in the unknown regions. Have fun.
But I kind of feel like Endor.
Yeah, you can get away.
He would have been there. He would have had to have been there.
You can get away with not having Thrawn in the original trilogy until you get to Endor, and then it doesn't make any sense.
But even with Endor, though, in the Legends, he wasn't there.
I'm not.
I know, but that's not canon anymore.
Yeah, but it worked. It worked then. No one questioned, because they explained he was gone, and he was in the Imperial fleet at the time of Rebels in the Legends timeline. He still was a Grand Admiral.
Well, I think what's going to happen is we're going to have an end to Thrawn this season. How it's going to be, if it's going to, I think they have to close the loop. But how it's going to happen is going to be the big question mark.
Yes,
because definitely, I will say, if you guys mention Endor, I say Jakku, because I just finished reading Empire's End, and Thrawn is not in there. If Thrawn would have survived up to Jakku, he would have been in control, not that Gallius Rax guy, not, like, he would have gone with one character into another place to start some other government that's going to be a pain in the ass in 30 years. I'm trying to be late on spoilers here for that book. But like, that's for you guys mentioned Endor, but that's just my cutoff thing. Because like, if you would have found out, hey, the Emperor died, because like Thrawn doesn't, he likes the Empire, but he does know the Empire is evil, but he's doing it because there's a dark presence in the unknown regions, and he wants to, and the Empire is a better ally than not having an ally. What this dark presence is, I don't know. The idea of the dark presence in the unknown regions is both a Legends thing and a canon thing now. Legends, it was the Yu Zhong Vong. Canon, my bet's on Snoke.
Snoke. Yeah, my bet's also on Snoke. Yeah.
But, I mean, Yu Zhong Vong, they were going to put them into Clone Wars. So
definitely not Mace Windu. I know that.
And not Crazy Windu. So, anyway, back to the trailer.
Thank you.
That was a really long tangent. I apologize.
I was waiting on that one. I was like, oh, wait, when's it coming?
Yeah.
I can't go an episode without back to the trailer.
So, now we see Rook has one of those electro stabs that General Grievous's Magneto droids have.
Yeah.
And he's on his own speeder bike, and he's about to fight, looks like Ezra in a scout trooper costume. So that means someone else is flying it, so someone else is in the scout trooper thing, because I don't think he's going to be riding it with an Imperial.
No. I kept wondering to myself, is that going to be Kanan that's going to be driving it? But then I was like, I mean, he's good with being able to see with the Force, but I don't know if he's good enough to be...
Well, he flew a speeder in the season 3 finale.
Oh, that's true.
And he flew. And when him and Rex were flying that one shuttle to pick up Callus and Ezra, Kanan was driving it.
He was flying that too.
Well, I guess he could do it. I guess he could do it with the Force vision.
So we then see Chopper totally just take down a stormtrooper, like flying next to him and like smashing his helmet. That was great. He's got a gun too. He smashes it. And we see we're in looks like a little tunnel system or a sewage system, and we see a probe droid.
Yeah.
This is Sabine? I think it's Sabine, or is it? Who is that?
In one scene when I paused it, it looked like Ezra. In the next scene that I paused, I rewound it and paused it multiple times. Near the very end, when you see him from the back, it looked like Ezra and his hair. But when you see him when I see this person from the side, it looks more feminine. So I don't know exactly if that's Ezra or if it is somebody feminine. But it looks like the new yellow costume that Ezra has, that we see in full regal here in just a second.
It's definitely a Mandalorian blaster they're using.
Yeah.
If you pause it right when that character is laying on the ground with the probe droid over top of her, it does look like Sabine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I paused it at 112, but that goes by so fast.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
So now, after that, we see Ezra with more Mandalorians, the Night Owls, and they look like they're fighting the Imperial Super Commandos in an aerial battle. That's going to be sick.
Yeah, it's going to be insane.
Zeb says at least we'll go down fighting. Oh, you know what? So this is interesting. Now we see Hera. She's dressed in a different costume, and I think that was Hera we saw originally before.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think
because now she's not, because like I said, I've never seen Hera in that costume before, but now we see her this, and that's the same as before.
It's the same head dressing with the spikes on the side like that. That was Hera that we were debating earlier.
Okay. And Zeb, he's got a new costume for, he's dressed up as someone probably for their whatever heist they're pulling. Or
when I first watched this before I started pausing to take all the little details in, I didn't even realize that was Zeb until I had paused it. It went by that fast.
Yeah, I just realized it was Zeb myself. So then we get a shot to, it looks like, I'm going to guess this is Ezra and Sabine when they go to attack that tower dish on the dish, Abnar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Looks like it.
Yeah, this is definitely the same exact scene. We're just cutting up about 30 seconds worth of scene into multiple things, and they're feeding us the same thing.
Sabine chops off the rifle of a Mandalorian.
Yep.
Now we see another U-wing flying through what looks like those types of Imperial store. Like, I'm not sure what type of facilities those are. They're little space stations.
They look like fueling stations to me, because it kind of reminds me
fuel tanks.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the mid-air refueling aircraft that we have.
When that ship hits light speed flying through that.
Oh, that is so awesome.
That's awesome.
That's one of the coolest things I've seen them do in this entire series.
Yeah.
Can I recommend you to do something? Go through and kind of hit play, pause, and watch how much detail they put into that. When it actually goes through that hangar, they actually, you can see every one of the boxes that are on the ground lift up and just ignite on fire as it's flying through.
I love
cool.
pausing it as the ship is going into hyperspace.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You see a combination of the space station and the hyperspace. So
my favorite part is when it comes out.
Shot.
My favorite part is when it comes out the other
the
side.
Back to the Future shot.
All we need is tire marks.
Okay, so this next one, we're now on Yavin 4.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guess this is right. Like, this would be in the beginning of the season, because we're all at Yavin. Mm-hmm. Sabine still has her normal season 3 outfit. Everyone looks the same. And then we have my man.
The man.
Rebel Callus walking by.
No.
He's got his new outfit on.
New jacket
on. Sadly, his hair has been fixed.
Yeah.
So I saw some tweets of people say, rip hot Callus, hello Rebel Callus.
Yes.
I was cracking up over that.
Oh my.
Who knew a stray lock of hair?
Yeah, who knew what the powers
such a fervor?
Like, everyone loved it. I don't know. They said about how expensive that was. And I'm like, you should keep it. Callus walks up and he goes, "It's time to get to work." And I'm so happy that Callus has finally joined the rebellion.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
I'm just glad he survived.
Favorite thing for 3.
And that shot of him, the look that he's got now, it makes me wonder if we're actually going to see an end to his story, because he looks like he could be any number of background character from the original trilogy.
He definitely does. He definitely does.
I kind of like
he just fits right in, and maybe person standing next to console 3 in the background shot. Maybe that's Callus. Who knows?
Wouldn't it be awesome if they based his character design off of someone from Yavin and we just didn't know it?
We just haven't noticed it yet.
Like they did with Rex. Like they did with Rex.
Like they did with Rex.
Yeah, definitely.
So now he says it's time to get to work. We see on Yavin, we see the Y-Wings that they got from season 3. We see, that's all you can really see on that.
Yeah.
The ships. Now we see, there's something. Oh, here we are.
Something.
Saw Gerrera. I just saw some, because it's so quick. Like, this clip is literally less than a second, and it's Saw Gerrera punching out a stormtrooper.
Ooh.
It looks like her hitting him with his gun as they're walking down a starship hallway.
Oh wow, I missed that one.
Yeah, I don't even.
I missed. No,
it's like a split-second clothesline, and then it moves on to the.
Yeah. See, I know what I'm talking about.
Good job.
I just went back and caught it. Yeah.
Like I said, we see something, and then we see Kanan with he's got a jetpack and his lightsaber, and man, do I want to see Kanan flying around in a jetpack being blind. It's going to be
with a
awesome.
lightsaber.
Yeah.
It's like the most dangerous things you could ever give to a blind person is a jetpack and a lightsaber, and they did it both.
Yeah.
I love it.
Both.
I love it. Now this is the shot. This
is the one I've been waiting for.
This is this is the mystical shot. Kanan is reaching out to the wolf we saw. We're on a Lothal. Looks like there's drawings on this Lothal mound.
Now, if you pay attention to what the drawings are,
I see.
They're
you have a person.
Well, on the top right, you've got what looks like a Yoda silhouette.
Yep.
And then they've got some like dots and drawings connecting things that would almost be like an internal X-ray, I guess is the way I would call it.
Yeah.
But if you look down underneath where the wolf's nose is, then you've got what looks like a rabbit with the same type of drawings. So
and it's a person going into the rabbit.
Right. It almost looks like it's a hieroglyphic reference to reincarnation.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about. There's a lot of talk online on this, and I want to address it with Ahsoka Tano being the wolf.
I don't have any doubt at this point.
I have no doubt
that's her.
I have no doubt that that's not her because
No.
in one, I could make an episode about this. But season 3 in Clone Wars, Ahsoka dies and is resurrected by the daughter. The daughter is a highly powerful Force user, Force manifest. She could shapeshift at will into a white flying creature. Ahsoka has that life force in her. She fights Vader. Just like with Gandalf the Grey dies and then comes back as Gandalf the White. Ahsoka Tano, being the Gandalf of Rebels, dies at the hand of a demon. Vader ascends into, and then with Dave Filoni having those cards, she ascends into the afterlife, the underworld. And when she emerges in it, there's even a card that has the outline of wolves on it.
Oh, wolf.
Yeah, around the outside.
Around the outside of it. I have
and even though, I mean, at this point, I don't think it's very much of a secret that that's her. But if you look at even the markings on the wolf, they kind of replicated the way her facial design was, the white on her face.
Yeah,
it is kind of the same designs as like the above the wolf's eye and down his nose. You can see the same shapes there as you would have in Ahsoka's face. But yeah, I can't wait for them to tell the story about how
this happened.
How is she the only one that has figured out how to reincarnate herself?
Yeah, and I think that's because, and I don't think it's something that, I mean, if you can come back as a blue glowing ghost, like what we've talked about in our previous episodes,
yes,
you can come back as. You could reincarnate, like, and Dave Filoni loves doing this. The other aspects of the Force.
I do like your theory about the daughter, though. That would explain how she's the only one that's been able to manage this.
It really would.
It makes sense because literally the daughter poured her life essence into her,
and it would tie everything back to that arc.
Back to
Clone, and would bring Clone Wars back in. And
Dave Filoni has gone on record in saying that the Convors are an avatar of let's see the quote. In some way, this is a quote from Dave. In some ways, I could say that it's a messenger, it's an observer. It is definitely something, and I would suggest, I would rather have fans debate, but I would suggest to say that whatever that thing is an avatar of, has actually appeared in the animated Star Wars universe before. So decrypt it from there, have it in summer.
I hope you're right, because the Mortis trilogy.
He mentioned Mortis too. Like he said, like we're going to be seeing things, and it's going to tie like it's that we haven't done since like the Mortis stuff of like how like big and stuff they're going with.
There were very few moments in the Clone Wars series that were any better or on par than that Mortis trilogy. That was probably as good as it got.
Yeah,
Mortis was the best.
So I'm hoping that's what this is.
Yeah, I'm hoping it too, and I'm just Ahsoka Tano is. I don't know if I've ever stated this on the show. She is probably my favorite Star Wars character.
Oh, she's most everybody's favorite character. Yeah,
I've loved her since we first met her in the Clone Wars film.
And I hated her in the Clone Wars film so much.
I liked it. I liked it because it gave Anakin this new responsibility, and it would showcase to him, how he has a lot to learn, and it was just.
It all made sense and worked out over time, and now she is one of my favorite characters. But that first movie, I was like, they have made a horrible mistake. I didn't like it at all. But they went from that to her being one of the most popular characters of the entire franchise, which is a testament to the storytelling that they did in the Clone Wars series, because people were comparing her to Jar Jar at the beginning.
I remember that she was called the I remember online on the forums, people call her the Hannah Montana of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
But now she's everyone's favorite character. Like she had, a novel written about her that was on the New York Times best-selling list for how many weeks. Like if there's any character that deserves a standalone film, it is Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Just throw that out there. Back to the trailer. Kanan says, "We are the balance, Ezra," and he reaches out and he touches he like puts his hand out towards the wolf, and the wolf is totally like, Ahsoka Wolf is like, I know who you are. And Kanan, Ezra might not know at first that what the wolf is or whatever, but Kanan being able to see through the Force, I think he'll be able to. He won't see a wolf; he'll see Ahsoka. What do you guys think about that?
Could very well be. I mean, I don't know everything about how the Force works, so
what the heck, Lance?
Sorry, I got an F in Force training. Sorry.
And we see Rook take on. He's fighting that scout trooper, probably Ezra that we saw earlier. Again, this is on Lothal.
That's what I believe.
And Rook is totally like just beating the crap out of the scout trooper. That is one of our rebels. Like they're in a wrestling match, and the Rook is channeling John Cena. That's a wrestler, right?
Yeah, I think
it is.
Okay, good. That was a pretty big risk that I did there.
And the rest of this trailer goes by pretty quick.
Yeah, we now have Ezra again back to that depot that Lance mentioned. We see Ezra sliding across a crate and he slices the guy. It's a Bo-Katan.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about. We see Sabine actually getting tossed against a wall from what we think is Bo-Katan. And I agree 100% with Kevin on this one. I think this is what we're going to see. We're going to see the rise of the new ruler. And I think Sabine basically said she doesn't want to do it, but she's going to find the right one to do it. And I think these are the trials that we're going to be watching.
Yeah, I think so.
We see a ship.
You get far enough in, Boka's got the blade.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're getting to that one.
Which, if any of them, that's the one shot I wish they wouldn't have put in the trailer.
Yeah, that's that. I even mentioned that. Hold on. I even mentioned it. I wrote big scene, Sabine standing next to Mom in front of the red-haired girl, Bo-Katan, that she was fighting earlier, with the darksaber held above her head, and Sabine looks satisfied as the Mandalorians kneel in front of her. And that, to me, that said way too much.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wish they would have cut from the trailer.
No.
Yeah.
So now Kanan's voice saying we were meant to be Jedi, so we could be here now for Lothal. And
Lothal,
got some more Jedi tanks there.
Yeah. Yep.
So with Kanan saying that and making that statement of, we're meant to be here now, is this the end for them?
I think it's going to be the end.
100%.
I mean,
I'm 90. I'll put it at 99%.
I think so.
I would put 99% on Kanan. I would put probably 75% on Ezra.
Yeah. Seeing as we're now like.
Maybe even a little lower for Ezra.
Yeah,
if this was pre-Rogue One, I would say no to both.
Right.
Maybe to Kanan, like 50%. But living in a post-Rogue One, like, the fact that they killed off the entire cast of a movie.
Right.
Now, I mean, they're not going to kill.
All bets are off.
They're not going to kill off an entire cast of a kid's cartoon.
No,
I mean, they can't do it. I think if any of them are going to die in that last effort, it'll be Kanan. Before it's any of the 100%.
I think what's going to happen. We'll get to this in a little bit, but I think what's going to happen is that Ezra's not going to die, but he's going to leave. He's going to go away for whatever reason it is.
I have Kanan's going to end up giving his life to save Ezra. It's going to be a very Obi-Wan on the Death Star moment.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's my guess. I think Kanan gives himself up so that Ezra can live.
Yeah. I agree.
Which would give him the ending that he deserves and makes sense, and the death would carry weight. It's not necessary, it would end up being his choice and not somebody just killing him, which would tone it down a little bit, I think, for a kid's. When we go back to the fact that it's a kid's show on Disney, I think if he gives himself up to save somebody else,
really, I mean,
they get away with it.
I wouldn't. I kind of stopped calling Rebels a kid's show because season one we have the Inquisitor beheads 2 Imperials.
No, I get that, but you still got to remember where this show is aired.
Oh yeah, I get it.
What
But,
it's playing on.
but then you get the season later that season the Inquisitor kills himself. You get the season 2 Maul just wipes out all the Inquisitors like bam, bam, bam.
Oh no, I know they've gone
Like,
there, but it's not been one of the
it's not
one
a
of the
hero
5 characters from the beginning.
It's not one of the heroes getting wiped out this time. But now we're at the point where a hero has to go. No, they're not. I don't see it that they're going to wipe out an entire crew as well.
No, I think they're gonna in the attack on the assault of Lothal. Probably Kanan will go.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna go 98%.
Okay, I'll be at
Ezra. I'll go Kevin. Ezra 75%.
I'm at 50 with Ezra.
Yeah, like I said, I would probably lower that a little bit for him than even 75. I think if any of them make it out, aside from Hera and Chopper that we know, it'll be Ezra that has the best chance of making it out of the show.
You know why Ezra is not going to get killed off? He's the youngest one on the ship. He's the child of the show, and it's a Disney show.
Because he's Snoke. He's either Snoke or Rey.
All right, Kevin. It's been nice. It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again. Never.
I'm just going to. I was going to throw out every Ezra. Theory that I've read.
Ezra's an Anakin clone. Ezra's the father of the space slug the Millennium Falcon flies into. These are rumors you only ever hear on Holocron of the Wills, guys.
Hey.
But we also get a great shot. Now, this is, these are real quick shots. Pause them. I didn't realize this until I paused. We see again Hera and Zeb in those costumes. We saw them in earlier. As his little car gets blown up. And they go with Chopper and Sabine's there. We got another Death Trooper. Hopefully they do something more in this season than just stand there and aim their guns.
That's my big thing. I was really disappointed in Rogue One after all the hype about the Death Troopers, and then we ended up getting almost nothing. It was just like Captain Phasma and The Force Awakens. And,
and then it's the same thing, and we see the Death Troopers and Rebels, and we're like, oh, Death Troopers and Rebels is going to be awesome. And then they just aim their guns and
fall down dead.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
So we see the U-Wing, and this is actually good. I think this might be the planet that I've been fighting for this whole episode, Adadar or whatever. Because
the one in the corner that the U-Wings flying by.
It's the same color.
Yeah,
and it makes sense because she's flying the U-Wing when she goes through it. They use the U-Wing to blow up the satellite. So this is one episode right here.
Yeah, this is all one because
they're fighting with Ezra and Sabine are fighting on the thing, and the Ghost is being chased by. Oh wait, if the Ghost is being chased by the TIE Phantoms, and not Phantoms, the TIE Defenders, and Hera's flying the U-Wing, something must happen then.
Yeah.
Because how she get from the Ghost to the U-Wing? Who's flying the Ghost?
Unless there's somebody else.
Where are you seeing it's her in the U-Wing?
Because isn't she flying the U-Wing when she flies through the space station?
Yes.
In that previous
yes. It is the U-Wing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It is the U-Wing. But it doesn't mean that she's not back in. I think we're looking at a multiple episode arc here. I think that's what it is.
We'll figure it out when the episode airs.
Yeah, I think it's an arc.
You go a little bit farther and she's in an X-Wing. So, I mean, she's flying everything at this point.
That's true.
We see the X-Wings, which finally, now I think we've seen every single Rebel fighter.
Yeah.
We're missing A-Wings.
No, actually, there were some A-Wings in one of the scenes. Yeah.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, A-Wings, then we got the B-Wing, then we got the Y-Wing, and now we have the X-Wing, and
now we have the
U-Wing, and we have the A and the B and the C and the D-Wing.
When it's Y-Wings that are crashing into Yavin the very next.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's crashing. And honestly, I'm going to be... pardon me. I think on this scene, we're looking at one of the final scenes of this season. I think these are actually going to be the Y-Wings kind of crippling back home. After
I don't think they're
Lothal.
going to crash. I think they're just badly damaged.
Yeah.
Remember, they only got, I think, 13 Y-Wings?
Yeah.
From, at least
they didn't get a lot.
They didn't get a lot of them.
No. Not at all.
And they all send them, and these Y-wings you have enough for Gold Squadron to get to the Battle of Scarif and Battle of the.
So you're thinking this is them limping home?
This is them limping home at the end of the season. That's what I figure.
And then we get the Mandalorians with Bo-Katan holding the Darksaber, Sabine and Sabine's mother, and all the Mandalorians are bowing. Hera turns around and says, "May the Force be with you," and boom, that's Star Wars Rebels.
Yep. And I think
they crammed a lot of stuff.
They did. And, the first time seeing it, I was like, wow, they really didn't show that much. But, like, I've gone on talking with some people, and I was saying, like, how season 4 kind of looks from this trailer looks kind of just like season 3.5. But, like, now that we've, like, been into this and discussed it all,
it's a lot of stuff. It might not be a lot of different story arcs that are happening this season. I think what we're going to be looking at is 2 distinctive story arcs. It's going to be the Ezra's home planet. It's going to be Sabine's home planet. And that's the main story.
They even discussed that in the.
It's going to be like one
in the Rebels panel. Is it that it's going to be more episodic than anything else. So you've got one story that you're following all the way through the 16 episodes or whatever they end up doing.
Yeah.
I knew that this was going to be the final season for several months. I knew there was no way they could push it any closer to the events of Scarif. There was no way. Because, I mean, think about it. If the attack on Lothal fails and the Battle of Scarif is the first official major victory of the rebellion, if it was only 3-4 months' time between the 2 events, the generals and the leaders would have been they would have been not so eager to jump into Scarif when it started kicking off with Jyn Erso and everybody else. Now, if they had had more time to train, let's say 1 year, the naval fight, they would have known going in there was going to be a huge naval fight. I knew in my heart this was going to have to be the last season.
I'm happy they're going to get to end it the way they want to end it.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
That was a theme that Filoni talked about quite a bit too in that celebration panel, is that he wanted to make sure that he was finishing this story. He didn't want to get burned a second time by not being able to finish what they had worked out. So, and
I fully understand that, because the of all the things that Disney and Lucasfilm have done since the buyout, the getting rid of the expanded universe, switching from Dark Horse to Marvel Comics and all this stuff, I was fine with all that. But I thought that them canceling or winding down, as they said, of Clone Wars, I'm still salty about it. And I'm thankful for what we got of it, the Lost Mission 13 episodes. But at the same time, I think it was a poor decision to end it. Because then it gets us in the spot where there's all these other story ideas that they were going to have for it, and it gets into this thing of, well, can we talk about it? Can't we talk about it? Because they don't throw anything out, so they'll reuse it. But I just want to see it as it's supposed to be. So I would love it if they were like, hey, we're gonna go after Rebels wraps up. If they're like, hey, we're gonna go back and finish the last seasons of Clone Wars, I'd be so
that would be amazing.
It's not going to happen, though.
To take those stories that they had hinted at that they had and finish them out for us.
It's not going to happen, though.
No, but it would be just so nice.
Yeah, it would.
It's what I was going to ask to end the show. Is I wondered what you guys thought the next animated series was going to be. When do you think that's going to be set in, or what would you like to see?
I think
them set in.
Personally, I think it's going to be something that's going to be set in around the time around episode 4. But I really don't know.
I think that the next show is most likely going to be a post Return of the Jedi animated show.
That's where I was leaning.
That's what I think. I agree with that one. I think,
and if they do that, I don't really think it's going to be the continuing adventures of Luke, Han, and Leia, because
no. From
the books standpoint, Aftermath, Han and Leia and Luke, they weren't even present at the Battle of Jakku.
Right.
They didn't have the adventures that they had in the EU. Han became a racer for starships. Then a racer manager and stuff. And
Leia's setting up the New Republic, so she's completely taken away from all the battles.
And Luke is gone.
Luke is gone off.
He's off with Ben.
Before Ben's even born, Luke doesn't even appear in the Aftermath books. He's gone away, looking into the origins of the Jedi Order. They could maybe do a show that had something to do with Ben Solo in it, because they got to tell the story of how he falls to the dark side, and I don't think they're going to fully explain it in the movie.
I don't think we're going to be getting something. If the Force.net, if their story was right about a month ago, we're not looking at something that's going to be happening between any movies anymore. Basically, they had said that the next stories that are going to be coming on television are going to be happening during a timeline that we already know about. It's not going to be like the Clone Wars.
Which would put them right in between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens.
But that's
40 years there they can play with.
Right.
30 some years.
But now we're talking about a film that's going to be filling a gap again. Just like the Clone Wars filled between 2 and 3.
Just like Clone Wars and just like Rebels.
And Rebels between 3 and Rogue One. But they've basically said it's already going to happen in a period that we already know about. So is it going to be during the same time as, A New Hope, The Empire, and Return of the Jedi?
I'm kind of done. I want them to move away from Empire. I'm getting a little tired, like burned out of the...
Yeah, I think to go along with marketing with Disney, and if they're going to run it on, like if they're keep it running on Disney XD, to keep the younger fan base engaged in the current movies, it's going to be based in the like episode 7-8 timeline.
And I would love that. I would personally love that.
Yeah, because there's so many other stories you can do that don't center around the main characters.
Oh yeah,
and we'd get just a wider view of that.
Of what's going on in the time of the sequel.
Yeah, how is the First Order expanding themselves? We see one story that's going on, but what about the rest of the First Order?
Yeah, what about the rest?
Yeah, what's going on in the galaxy as a whole, the New Republic? Because, just because the New Republic lost its capital, the New Republic's still there,
in chaos, but it's still there.
Is it chaos?
The Senate.
We just lost the Senate, which really, let's be real, they're probably getting more effective now because the Senate's gone.
Yeah, it's basically the White House just got blown up in Independence Day. Now what do we do?
Yeah, it's just like, well, the stuff still exists. Your capital's gone, but that's the thing with the New Republic though, is that they don't even they're not staying on Coruscant. And if the Republic lost Coruscant, that would have been devastating during the Clone War, if it was blown up or something.
Yeah,
right.
But the fact that the New Republic changes its capital planet every few years, they lost all the senators and the staff and the fleet and all this stuff.
They lost most.
They lost most of the fleet.
Yeah.
Well, whatever fleet was in Hosnian Prime was destroyed.
Yeah, whatever Senate was there. Now, senators are out doing business all over the galaxy, but the largest seat of them would have currently been on Hosnian Prime.
Yeah. But so what are you guys all looking forward to with season 4 of Rebels before we, write it off as, waiting for the next show to come out?
I guess we should have done that backwards, huh?
We should have, but we live and we learn.
I want to see closure.
Go ahead.
No, I personally just want to see closure. I want to see closure for the characters that we currently see. We know that at least 2 characters make it into Rogue One. Zeb, there's a good chance that he makes it in there as well. He would have been co-pilot or sitting in the Ghost as it was flying. They wouldn't have called him out on the loudspeaker. Now, the 3 main characters that we need closure on are going to be Sabine, Kanan, and Ezra. And if she actually did survive the Sith Temple, then we need 100% closure on Ahsoka.
I want Ahsoka so bad.
I think what I'm looking forward to most about season 4 is seeing Dave Filoni wrap an animated series.
Yeah.
to give it the proper send off that he never got to do with Clone Wars, and we're going to actually get to see him, how he plans out an ending, and see how that all comes to fruition. I think that is what I'm most excited to see.
No, I agree 100%. I like that one. And I still would buy a Dave Filoni action figure.
Oh, I would too.
With like the removable hat.
Yeah.
Or would the hat be molded onto it?
No, honestly, I think the hat's molded on.
It has to be. It has to be.
Well, because there was a time I remember at a convention years ago. He said that if you ever wanted to go incognito, he would just take the hat off and know it was him. He's the best. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap up our show for today. I know we really the past 2 weeks we've just been discussing trailers, but starting next week will be the Star Wars Celebration fever will be cured of it, and we'll be back to our normal Holocron of the Wills programming, and basically, I think this is week 3 of podcasting weekly now, right?
Yeah. Actually, week 3 now.
Yep. So, we'll be here next week. I think I'm pretty safe in saying what our subject matter for next week will be. We'll be back to our normal scheduled shows. So we'll be next week. We'll be diving into the Clone Wars character of Asajj Ventress and the Night Sisters.
Yes.
So don't miss that. We're going to be really diving into this, and it'll tie us back into all the cool stuff with animation. We'll be talking about we'll be discussing Ventress's origins in both the behind the scenes of like where her character originated from and what Star Wars material, as well as within the Star Wars universe, and what happens to her during the Clone Wars after the TV series from Christy Golden's Dark Disciple novel.
Yep.
Yes.
And the cool thing is we're going to be recording from somewhere, let's say far away. We're going to be visiting somewhere.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
But make sure you like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Holocron of the Wills. We're on Twitter at I always mess up the Twitter. Is it hashtag or is it?
No, it's at Holocron Wills.
Thank you. At Holocron Wills. You'd think being 24 years old, I'd know how to use Twitter.
And especially the guy who actually runs the Twitter.
I know, right? I'm
Exactly.
I go to tag things, I hit the hashtag, and it's a mess. Make sure you follow us.
Yeah, definitely do.
Someone can teach me how to do it. But no, we're on. We also have the Facebook group, the Holocron of the Wills. You can also find us at our Fulcrum Podcast Network. We're on Facebook, and we also have the website. And Kevin, where can folks find you if they want to listen to you?
Well, we're also on the Fulcrum Podcast Network.com page. We have there's another podcast.com is where you can go for our shows specifically. We're on Facebook and Twitter as well, but there's another podcast.com has all the links to subscribe to the show, as well as you can play the newest episode right there in the browser. Next week, or our next show that we're going to do, we're covering the stories that came out of Celebration as far as the toys and collectibles go. So we're going to dive into the new Black Series figures that were revealed. They announced they're bringing back the 3 3/4 inch vintage line for 2018.
Oh, cool.
So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. They revealed the first figure in that line is going to be Rey. So we'll get a highly articulated vintage Rey, or a Rey on the vintage card, I should say.
You just made my Saturday.
Great.
Yeah, so that's going to be the first figure there. We're going to talk a little bit about the fan voting for Hasbro and which figure is going to be the fans' choice for next year. I
don't think Ben Solo's on the list so far, or Ben Skywalker. I mean,
yeah, he is actually. He was one of the. He was one of the finalists.
He wasn't on Yak Face. They said he wasn't because I guess people were like trying to cheat the vote.
Well, maybe not. But
really,
I saw
they were.
I saw a Ben. I saw a Krell from the Clone Wars series. the Tonica sisters that are still trying to get figures made of them. I don't have them in front of me, but those are the ones that stuck out to me. So we're going to be talking about those too, and some of the other collectibles that are coming out that were announced from Lego and some of the other licensees. So that's what our show is going to be about. But yeah, look us up. Look us up on the Fulcrum Podcast Network. We've got a blog there that I post to sometimes when stories hit. We've got and you can get to both of our shows. There's another podcast and Holocron of the Wills. You can get to either one of those from that page as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this list now of the different ones. And it looks like we got Ben Skywalker, Bo-Katan, Dr. Aphra, Yak Face, the Tonica sisters.
Dr. Aphra, that was the one I forgot. That I think of all of them, I want either an Aphra or a Krell, but that's just because those are in the timelines that I like quite a bit.
See, I always like the characters that aren't in the films, and I always think it's silly that they don't make more of those, because they always sell a lot. Like, there's always a demand for characters that were in books and in comics and stuff, and I just think Hasbro just doesn't know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, Jaina Solo, we're getting a 6-inch Black Series Jaina Solo.
Thank God.
She won the Fans' Choice Award, or the Fans' Choice that they voted on. I already last year.
I already have it pre-ordered.
Yeah, so we're getting her in the 6-inch line next year.
Yeah, I'll be pre-ordering that the second it hits Amazon. But thanks for coming on the show, Kevin, and
thank you guys.
Yeah,
as always, it's a great pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, it's always good talking with you.
But all right, well, that wraps up our show today for April 22nd, 2017. Thanks for listening, guys, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the GDA Podcast Network.